Hello, I'm Ola, and today I'm comparing a bolt-on constructed guitar versus a neck-through constructed guitar. So usually when people are making demos of neck-through versus bolt-on versus set neck guitars, you know, there's just so many variables that affect how a guitar sounds acoustically and, you know, electrified. To make a proper comparison, you would need to have, you know, the same guitar constructed with the same kind of woods, just that one has bolt-on and one is neck-through. And that's what I have right here today. These are Solar Guitars S1.6 FR FM. They're both constructed in the exact same way. They both have the same woods, both in the body and the neck. They have the same pickup. They have the same Floyd Rose bridge. Everything matches on both these guitars. Even the tuners are the exact same. Everything is the same. Same wood, same fretboard. Both have a mahogany body with maple veneer top on them. The necks are maple Yatoba in mix, as you can see, and ebony fretboard. Stainless steel frets. Everything is the same except for the absolute neck construction. You have a bolt-on right here and a neck-through right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a set neck version of this. If you're unfamiliar with neck constructions, basically bolt-on is a bolted-on separated neck that you screw on to the body like this, while a neck-through is constructed a full maple body like this, glued together with the body. But as you can see, the maple goes all the way through, supposedly giving more resonance to the full guitar. In general, a lot of people are saying that bolt-on guitars are a little snappier sounding than neck-through guitars, and also that neck-through guitars has longer sustain than bolt-ons and vice versa. And with today's test, I'm going to try and figure all that shit out and see if there's an actual difference, both acoustically, plugged in, and just then I'm going to give you my conclusion regarding bolt-on versus neck-through, okay? Alright, first up I want to try how they compare acoustically, just, you know, not plugged in or anything like that. I've set both guitars where I have the same distance from saddle to pickup, also from string to pickup. Just trying to shrink down the variables as much as possible so we can get a proper comparison between bolt-on and neck-through. So first off, I want to start and just see how they compare acoustically. Now, this obviously doesn't matter when it's an electric guitar and plugged in. Well, let's just see if there is a difference acoustically and how they kind of cling out and resonate without it being plugged in. I just thought it was interesting, okay? So this is the neck-through guitar right here. Sounds like this acoustically. Alright, without listening to the result, I hear immediately that the bolt-on guitar is a little snappier sounding. It has a little bit more brittle to the tone. Not as much bass, not as full as the neck-through right there. And this is just acoustically, okay? Alright, so how does it sound plugged in? Let's try it out. And just with the acoustic result I was getting, you know, where I was saying that the bolt-on was a little bit more brittle sounding, I kind of get the same feeling when I'm plugged in, connected to, you know, a clean channel amplifier. However, I might get fooled because I'm also hearing the guitar acoustically right now. It's going to be really interesting hearing how the results differ when I check this out later. And now for the metal test. How does it fare with a Chuggy Chuggy McChug riff? The bolt-on definitely seems a little bit tighter, but it's also maybe what I'm hearing acoustically together with the electrified signal that I'm hearing right now. So that's also going to be very interesting hearing afterwards and see if there's a difference. So in the regards of sustain test, I made a sustain test where I was playing the 12th fret of the G string on both guitar, basically measuring how long of a sustain and how they would compare between neck through and bolt-on. And rather than just play them after each other, I figured it would be easier to just show you the difference in a DAW, like Logic right here. So we have the neck through tone right here and the bolt-on tone right here. So we can see they're starting about the same. And as you can see from these two files right here, notice that this is bolt-on and this is neck through, is that the bolt-on has a slightly longer sustain than the neck through. Now, there's going to be other factors in this that affects the sustain, but I think it makes a clear difference. I thought before that the neck through would be superior in sustain, but in this case, between these two guitars, the bolt-on actually performs better in regards to sustain. But with that said, I mean, there's so many other things and variables that can affect sustain than just, you know, the neck construction, but at least there's a comparison right there. So I want to make a conclusion in regards to the comparing of the neck through versus bolt-on in this case. And, you know, back in the day, I was convinced that neck through was the absolute shit. You know, it was the best you could get. It's a little bit more complicated to construct and build a neck through guitar. And I was also convinced that it sounded the best. And now we're talking like 15 years back or something like that. You also have a better fret access up on the higher frets, but that also depends on the construction of the actual guitar. I mean, I can go pretty far up on the neck through. It depends on how you design the guitar. This solo right here is very shaved off at the heel right there, so the fret access is still very, very good. I mean, I can still go down. If I just put my hand up and down, obviously the bump is going to go on my thumb, but it doesn't really affect me that much. On the neck through, it's basically the same. So if you compare the two fret access wise, it really depends, because if it's a bolt through guitar that's very well designed, then the fret access shouldn't be a problem. A pro with the bolt-on is that if you break the headstock or like break the neck in general, it's just easier to switch out. If you break a guitar that has a neck through construction in some way, then it's going to cost a lot more to fix. In regards to the tone, I think it's more of a preference, to be honest. Man. There's not one that's better than the other, it's just a taste, basically. I think I personally prefer set neck the absolute most, which is somewhat in between sounding between the bolt-on and the neck through. Unfortunately, I couldn't have a set neck guitar in the same construction in this test right here. So what did you think? Go listen back to the comparison right there. Did you hear a difference? Does it make a difference? Like, does it matter, the difference, or is it just the application? I mean, you also have to take into account that if this guitar, the bolt-on, is a little bit brittle, you will dial in an amplifier in a completely different way than you would with a neck through, at least in my opinion, and for metal, obviously. And there is also the thing about, you know, it doesn't really matter when you're pushing so much gain on the amplifier like you do in metal. So that is a fair point right there. So there you go. That's a comparison video between a bolt-on and a neck through constructed guitar right there. I think it's as fair as possible when it comes to comparing the two in this video, because they are the exact same guitars. The only difference between the two are the back, you know, the back of the neck and how they're attached to the guitar. So with that said, hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Goodbye.